Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chandra Ballava Girivaranari Gopi Chandra Ballava Girivaranari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivaranari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll continue reading from Srila Prabhupada Nectar. This section's called, this is page 408, if someone's watching, following the book, number 43, Little Drops of Nectar. On giving mercy. In Calcutta in 1971, Yamuna Dasi was bringing Prabhupada his lunch. Prabhupada asked her if she was teaching the girls how to cook. At that point, Kaushalya Dasi, who was outside the room, spoke up and said that Yamuna was actually not teaching them to cook. Prabhupada then looked at Yamuna Dasi and in a very serious tone told her that if she did not distribute her knowledge, she would become envious. Yamuna then understood that whatever she learned from Prabhupada, she should share with others, including knowledge of cooking. Once Prabhupada, then the next paragraph, once Prabhupada was leaving Paris, the devotees accompanied him to the airport and sat with him in the departure lounge, waiting with him until the time he could board the airplane. At one point, Prabhupada took off his flower garland and instructed the devotees to distribute it to the non-devotees. Hari Vilas Das got up and began handing out flowers. Hari Vilas was struck with Prabhupada's magnanimous nature. Prabhupada was not only engaging them in service, but also teaching them how to preach. He realized that Prabhupada wanted his devotees to use every minute to spread Krishna consciousness to the conditioned living entities. Prabhupada watched them distributing the flowers, and he seemed pleased. When they returned to their seats beside Prabhupada, he expressed his pleasure that they had done this, and they too became pleased. Next paragraph. Pankajana Das was nervous when he received Brahmana. A devotee had shown Pankajana how to count the different Gayatri mantras on his fingers, but the method which he showed him was not correct. When Pankajana went to receive Gayatri, Prabhupada demonstrated the correct method of counting. But because Pankajana was nervous, he could not hear Srila Prabhupada's instructions, so he repeatedly used the wrong method of counting the mantras. Srila says, you cannot be initiated, Srila Prabhupada said. Your memory is too short. Call my servant. So Pankajana stood up and got the servant. But the servant came in, Pankajana told him he was too nervous. Prabhupada then told Pankajana to go outside and practice. He later returned and counted the mantras correctly. Next paragraph. From the time the devotees first moved into the Berkeley temple, the neighbors caused trouble. The people living across the street of the temple made a large sign blaspheming the Hare Krishnas and hung it in front of their house. When Prabhupada came to Berkeley for Rath Yatra, the devotees became anxious. They tried to take Prabhupada down another street so that he would not see the sign, but road construction and a detour forced the devotees to take Prabhupada past the house. To keep Prabhupada from seeing the house, the devotees were pointing to the opposite side of the street. Prabhupada, they said, look at the trees, aren't they nice? Do you see the temple? Then Prabhupada happened to turn and he noticed a sign. He said it was nice and that this was the only house in America with Krishna's name on the front. So that's all it is, positive. They're blaspheming Krishna, but they're saying that they're mentioning Krishna, and so that was the best house in the neighborhood because they had Krishna's name on it. Number 44. In November of 1976, Puri Das visited Prabhupada in Vrindavan. Puri Das had come from Paris, and he had brought with him the new French translation of Krishna book. Puri Das felt nervous as he entered Prabhupada's room and paid his obeisances. Srila Prabhupada was speaking with a student from America at the time. Prabhupada Prabhupada and Puridas exchanged a few words, and Puridas said that he had bought the new French Krishna book. Ah, so Prabhupada said, this is what I like. And he began to look at the new book, As he looked at the pages, his face lit up, and he held the book up for everyone in the room to see. He then turned to the student from America and said how boys and girls in every country of the world are taken seriously to Krishna consciousness. Chant, dance, feast, and philosophy. This is Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada told the boy, and he again began looking at the new book. Next paragraph. In the summer of 1974, Prabhupada traveled to Paris to install Shri Radha Paris Ishwara. The deities were very large and required several men to carry them into the temple room. Prabhupada was pleased by how nicely the temple had been decorated. During the Abhishek, Srila Prabhupada stopped for a moment to look at Srimati Radharani's face. There was a spot of paint on her face. Prabhupada took some yogurt on his fingertip, and with great care and devotion, he began to massage the spot on her face. He did this for some time, and the devotees could understand that Prabhupada was in full awareness that this deity was Radharani herself. In this way, he demonstrated complete absorption in the worship of the deity. This was about cleaning the paint off with yogurt. At 45, Prabhupada tells short stories. In 1977, the construction of the Bombay Temple was going slowly. On several occasions, Srila Swami told Prabhupada that the marble contractors would be arriving in 15 days. Srila Prabhupada then told a story about a professional witness who worked in the court system. This witness would repeatedly be called upon for various testimonies, and for this he would receive a fee. When being sworn in, the witness would always testify that his age was 60 years. One day the judge pointed out that for years the man had been claiming to be 60 years old. The witness replied that a man should not change his word of honor. In the same way, Prabhupada concluded, Srila Swami would not change his word of honor. Next paragraph. On a visit to Tehran in 1976, Prabhupada told his story. Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati were once passing through a town disguised as ordinary people. On their way, they passed a beggar in the street. Quote, "This poor man is begging, so why don't you give him something?" Quote. Parvati said to Lord Shiva, "Even if I give him, he will not be able to enjoy. He is so unfortunate." Lord Shiva answered, that was Lord Shiva's answer. But Parvati again requested him to give the beggar something. So Lord Shiva consented. "Take this," Lord Shiva said to the man, and he gave him a watermelon containing a great treasure of gold and jewels. For receiving the watermelon, the beggar thought, "What shall I do with this?" And he sold the watermelon to a man for only a few cents. Prabhupada then explained how we are as unfortunate as the beggar. Krishna is giving us perfect knowledge, but like the beggar, we are not taking advantage. Right? Watermelon was actually filled with gold and jewels, but the man didn't realize that the watermelon was filled with gold and jewels, so he practically gave it away. So we also we have so much knowledge, so we have to take full advantage of this knowledge so that we give it to practice Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, little drops of, number 46, little drops of nectar. Prabhupada is always right. While visiting Los Angeles in 1971, Prabhupada took a walk through a park. After walking for some time, Prabhupada and the devotees came upon a section of the park that was fenced in. The gate was open, but a sign said, "Unauthorized, do not enter." Prabhupada began walking toward the gate. Puranda told Prabhupada that he should not pass through the gate. 3 times he told Prabhupada it was unauthorized. Finally, Prabhupada stopped, looked at Puranda and said, "Mahajano Yeta Sapanta." One should follow in the path of the Mahajanas. He then proceeded through the gate. Prabhupada chose the path that led directly to their car, and thus saved a long walk back the way they had come. Next paragraph. Once some devotees acquired a special mechanical device for lifting the top of the rock car. The devotees assured Prabhupada that Narayana Das could assemble the mechanism. The Prabhupada said that they should form a committee and consult together rather than have just one man take on the work. He said it should not be that only one man understood and that everyone else did not know what he was doing. Another paragraph. When the devotees told Narayana that what Prabhupada had said, Narayana felt bad, thinking that Prabhupada doubted him. But then the devotees sat down and had their meeting. They soon realized that neither Narayana nor anyone else among them had the ability to construct the complex device. Narayana then resolved to always consult others before beginning a project. This paragraph. Once in Hyderabad, Prabhupada stayed in a room with a slanting roof. He asked his servant, Harisari, to put a picture of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on top of the almirah. But because the roof slanted, Harisari could not figure out a way to hang the picture. Prabhupada said he took a little intelligence and then he related a story. It's just a story. Christopher Columbus and a companion were sitting at a table. Actually, your going to America was not anything special, said the gentleman. You didn't plan to go there. It was an accident. Anybody could have done it, but you just happened to be the first. Columbus then put an egg on the table and said, "Make this egg stand on its end." The man tried and tried, but he could not balance the egg. Finally, he gave up in desperation. Columbus then took the egg and tapped the big end until it became flat. Then he stood the egg on its end. "Well," the man said, "you didn't say I could break the egg." "It takes a little intelligence," answered Columbus. After telling this story, Prabhupada then tilted the picture so that it was resting on the wall in the opposite way from that of a conventional picture. In this way, he was able to slip the picture between the almirah and the slanting roof. Next section, 47. Little drops of nectar. In Bombay, Srila Prabhupada was visited by a follower of Ramakrishna who claimed that Ramakrishna was an incarnation of God. The man explained how Ramakrishna had saved a drunkard. Prabhupada asked if this fact made Ramakrishna an incarnation of God. Prabhupada said that he had converted thousands of drunkards, not only drunkards, Western drunkards, he said, and therefore I am a much bigger incarnation than him. Next paragraph. Prabhupada visited Gorakhpur in 1971, and while there, he had an intimate exchange with his disciples. When asked how a devotee should decide between various services to offer to Krishna, Prabhupada told the disciple to inquire from his spiritual master. The disciple expressed a doubt, thinking that this question might seem foolish. No, don't speculate, Prabhupada said. You should immediately ask your spiritual master. Then I would be asking you a question all day long, and you'd have no time to do anything else, the disciple said. No, Prabhupada said, you are welcome. You are welcome. I didn't follow it. So we'll go on. In London in 1969, Trivikram Das was giving Prabhupada a massage. Prabhupada was preaching about how Krishna has form. Prabhupada turned and put his arms on Trivikram's shoulders and said, just as Trivikram has form, Krishna also has form. Prabhupada once stayed in a small room that had a ceiling which was higher in the middle than it was around the wall. Prabhupada liked that room very much. He said it reminded him of his room in Radha Damodar temple. To me, this is sense gratification, he said. In Mayapur in 1976, Srila Prabhupada held an evening darshan for his devotees. Someone brought in sweets, and Prabhupada's servant put them away. Prabhupada asked the servant why he didn't serve the prasadam. So the servant replied that there were too many devotees in the room, and he would pass out the prasadam as everyone was leaving. Prabhupada quickly answered, they will never leave, and the devotees all shouted, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada's room that the devotees of the Santa Fe temple offered him was almost there, and his bed was only a mattress on the floor. One evening, as Srila Prabhupada sat on his mattress, his disciple Toshan Krishnadas noticed a small insect walking across the floor. The bug approached Prabhupada's mattress, and Toshan Krishna wanted to shoo it away, but Prabhupada said it was all right. The bug climbed up on the mattress and walked up to Prabhupada. Prabhupada smiled and bounced the bug off the mattress and back onto the floor. Again, the insect crawled to the mattress and climbed up where Srila Prabhupada was sitting. And again, Prabhupada bounced it back onto the floor. Then Toshan Krishna says, we should have sprayed. Toshan Krishna, no, said Prabhupada. You can just keep it clean. So Prabhupada didn't like it. spraying and killing and insects. He said, better you just keep it very clean, and then they will not come. They're coming out to eat. Number 48, Prabhupada said, this is from a handwritten diary. What is Krishna consciousness? 1. Krishna consciousness means clear consciousness. 2. Material existence means hazy consciousness. 3. Identifying the body as a self is hazy consciousness. 4. One has to understand himself first. Huh? Number 2. Sorry, from the beginning. Question starts off, what is Krishna consciousness? Number 1, Krishna consciousness means clear consciousness. Number 2, material existence means hazy consciousness. Hazy means just the opposite. It's not clear. The consciousness is not clear. Hazy like the weather, like now. Or if it was like if the weather, like when you have fog and you can't see clearly, it's hazy, like that. So in here we have hazy consciousness. 3, identifying the body as self is hazy consciousness. 4, one has to understand himself first before making progress in Krishna consciousness. 5, constitutional position of the living entity is being eternal servant of Krishna or God. It's their constitutional position. 6, God or Krishna means the Supreme Person and the Supreme Cause of all causes. 7, forgetfulness of the eternal relationship to God or Krishna is the beginning of hazy consciousness. 8, to revive the original clear consciousness of the living entities, the Vedic literatures are there. 9, the Vedic literatures are as follows. A, the 4 Vedas. B, the Upanishads, numbering at least 108. C, the Vedanta philosophy. D, the 18 Puranas. E, the Ramayana, original Valmiki. F, the Mahabharata. G, and any book following the tenets. Number 10, the Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata. 11, the original Veda is Atharva Veda, later on divided into four for divisional understanding. 12, Mahabharata is called the 5th Veda and is meant for a less intelligent class of men who love history more than philosophy. 13, Bhagavad Gita, being part of the Mahabharata, is the essence of all Vedic knowledge for a less intelligent class of men in this age. Bhagavad Gita is called the Bible of the Hindus, but actually it is the Bible for all human race. 15. In the Bhagavad Gita, the following subject matter has been discussed. A, what is the living being? B, he is not the body, but spirit soul. C, the spirit soul is encaged in material body. D, the body is subjected to birth, death, old age, and disease. E, the spirit soul is eternal, never takes birth or dies, but exists even after the annihilation of the material body. F, the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another. G, he can, however, stop this transmigration process and attain eternal blissful life of knowledge by Krishna consciousness. And then 16, what is God? And number 8, God is an individual person. He is chief of all other persons of different parts, namely the demigods, the human beings, animals, and the birds, insects, trees, and aquatics. All these living entities are sons of God, and therefore they are all servants of God. And then one other little section here, how to open a center. At least 3 devotees will form a party to open a center. They will go on the street to perform kirtan twice in a day, morning and evening. 3, they will hold classes thrice a week, where classes will be taken, Bhagavad Gita, etc., preceded and followed by kirtan. 4, on every Sunday there must be a love feast festival. It's part of the opening a new temple. There has to be the Sunday feast. And 5, as the members increase, the Sankirtan party for street increases, and the strength for selling BTG and other books. I'm not sure when that was written, but yeah, when I joined the movement, we didn't hardly had any books. So the big distribution back then was selling Back to Godhead magazines, which we were selling for about 25 or 50 cents each. It's changed a lot. We used to have boxes and boxes of them to go out and distribute on the streets. We go on a little more. Okay, we'll do one more. Number 49, little drops of nectar. Prabhupada was precise. Srila Prabhupada was very precise in his use of words and his presentation of Krishna consciousness. Once one of his sannyasi disciples was giving a lecture in Prabhupada's presence, and he was explaining the absolute nature of the holy name. Krishna is in his name, the disciple said. And Prabhupada interrupted. Oh, he is in his name? Where is he in it? Where in his name is he? His disciple fell silent. Krishna is not in his name, Prabhupada explained. Krishna is his name. Not different. Prabhupada held an initiation in Geneva in 1974. Krishna Swami performed the fire sacrifice, and Prabhupada presided over the yajna from his Vyasa. The devotees had covered the sacrificial area with cloths of different kinds. One of the cloths that was used was a Harinam chadar. Krishna Swami sat on a cushion with his foot on the chadar. Prabhupada looked down and said, "What is that?" Krishna said, "What is what, Prabhupada?" Prabhupada said, "What mantra is that?" Krishna Swami said it was the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Prabhupada said that it was not the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Prabhupada said that it was not the Hare Krishna mantra. Krishna Swami said yes, it was the Hare Krishna mantra. Krishna Swami said yes, it was. Prabhupada said it was not the Hare Krishna mantra. Krishna Krishna said, yes, it is the Hare Krishna mantra. It said that it was printed in English letters and that it had been stylized to look like Devanagari script, but it was actually the Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada looked down and was silent for a few moments. Then he said, if that is the Hare Krishna mantra, then why have you put your foot on the holy name? Krishna Swami moved his foot. So that was Srila Prabhupada's point. Srila Prabhupada knew it was the Hare Krishna mantra. So why would we put him on foot? Just like when chatters, you can't, especially Harinam chatters, you can't put them on the floor or sit on the floor or wrap them around the lower part of the body like that. It's not appropriate because it's Krishna. Let's finish this section. Once Srila Prabhupada held a preaching program at the Parthasarathi temple in Madras. In that temple there is a murti of Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The murti wears a little mustache. After the program, Srila Prabhupada went to the home of Mr. Maheshwari, who asked Prabhupada how it was that Krishna was wearing a mustache. Prabhupada explained that this was bogus. He said that Krishna is Nava Yovana, ever youthful, and never has a mustache. Then Prabhupada took his finger and began very gently touching the area above his lip. He began searching for a word to describe Krishna's upper lip. One of his disciples said, like peach fuzz, Prabhupada. Like peach fuzz, Prabhupada, indicating the very salt hairs that grows on a young boy's lip as he reaches puberty. Prabhupada said, yes. A senior devotee once advised that BTG editors should specialize in different areas of material knowledge, like psychology, economics, politics, and write articles about these topics with BTG. Jayadvaita Swami reported the idea to Prabhupada. Jayadvaita Swami added that he did not like the idea. He said he felt that the devotees who write for Back to Godhead should simply read Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada agreed that this was the right idea. He said that the other idea was useless. On another occasion, Jayadvaita Swami approached Prabhupada with the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which he had re-edited. Jayadvaita Swami read several translations which he had changed. Prabhupada asked him to explain what it was he had done. Jayadvaita Swami said he had revised the text to bring it closer to what Prabhupada originally said. Closer to what I have said, Prabhupada said, then it is all right. On yet another occasion, Jayadvaita Swami was traveling with Prabhupada. As they waited to board their Pan Am jet, Jayadvaita Swami noticed that the plane had a name, the Clipper Intrepid. He told Prabhupada that this was a suitable name because Prabhupada was such an intrepid preacher. Prabhupada then asked Jayadvaita Swami what the word intrepid meant. Jayadvaita Swami told him. Prabhupada then thought for a moment and he asked how it was spelled. Jayadvaita Swami spelled the word and reasoned that Prabhupada thought it was a good word and that he might have a use for it sometime. Just one more paragraph here. Service and separation, number 50. The spiritual master is present wherever his sincere disciple is trying to serve his instructions. This is possible by the mercy of Krishna. In your attempts to serve me, and in all your sincere devotional sentiments, I am with you as my Guru Maharaj is with me. Remember this always. And the next letter is reflected from letters. You write to say, I really miss Swamiji and my godbrothers associated so much. But I may remind you that I am always with you. And so wherever I am, and you are there, all your godbrothers are there. Please remember always the humble teachings you have received from me, and that will make you always associated with me and with your godbrothers. And one last letter. To feel separation from the spiritual master or Krishna is a very good position. That means that one who is in pure love with Krishna and his representative, the spiritual master, he thinks always of them. And this thinking process is Krishna consciousness. If we can think always of Krishna, even in separation, that is Krishna consciousness. And in the absolute platform, there is no difference of separation and meeting. The separation is also meeting. Rather, in separation, one relishes the loving relationship more tastefully. So don't be disappointed that you are separated from me. I am also thinking of you and how you are making progress there. This is actually the end of the book, except for some notes and different things here, an appendix. But this is actually the end of the main book. So Prabhupada ki jai.